Hello.
Hello.
Shoot. How are you doing? Oh, we're already recording, aren't we?
Yeah, how funny. We've kind of got a symmetrical viewpoint. We're sitting
Yeah.
almost at exactly the right corner angle. For the, just,
Perfect.
how are things?
Good. This has been a crazy, crazy week. I'll tell you all about it. What about yours?
Yeah, no, I've been doing some inner child work. So it's not been crazy. It's been very calm. But yeah, I've been doing lots of digging. So I've got
Interesting. I
my
can't wait to hear.
tea to share with you.
Tea time. What have you got
Um,
today?
the same as last week. It was delicious, but this is actually like a soup bowl size mug just to keep
Nice
going.
and
But
cozy.
yeah, the weather's terrible. Yesterday
Yes,
I got sunburn, and today it's just
I
dark and
know.
wet.
Yesterday was
Anyway,
such a tease. I was so excited.
yeah, but didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick off then your week?
Sure. Okay. So, Monday morning, I go to the gym. Life is good. Everything is as should be. And then a few hours later, I start feeling run down physically, like kind of just unwell. And then I started feeling really stressed about work. And, I did my normal practices, some breathing, drank some tea. And nothing was really working as it normally does. In fact, everything just started feeling worse and worse. And so I had just said yes to a really big commitment, really exciting at the time. And I suddenly freaked out and I thought, you know what? I need to say no to this new thing. Um, it's not for me. It's not right. This is what's wrong. And I just need to keep my head down, stay in my lane. And I called you and I told you about it. And you said, okay, well, give it some thought. Here's a DI, a deep imagining, like a guided meditation from To Be Magnetic about safety and security. Try it out, see how you feel. So I did. It was beautiful. And the next day, I really did just go into my cocoon. I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel secure. And anytime the thought of this commitment crossed my mind, it was just a hard no. Like no matter what, it was a no. I'm safer in my own lane, and that's where I want to be. This commitment is just not for me. But I wasn't ready to close the door yet. So I asked the universe for a sign. I said, if it is for me, if there's something for me here, send me a sign before the end of the day. And I just let it go and kept on with my day. And if I thought about the thing again, it was still a no. I just said, it's no, there's no sign. I'm going to keep going. And around 8 p.m., I was ready to just make my decision like the day is over. I'm saying no. But then I thought, well, it's not officially over. I'll wait. And tomorrow will be when I finally make my decision. And at 9 p.m., I get a little notification on my phone from YouTube from my friend Quasi, the YouTuber. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is my sign. And bibliomancy is when you open a book and just some random
Yeah,
page gives you a message. I was
yeah.
like, well, I'll do videomancy. So I just scrolled to like a random section of the video and stopped. And the first thing I heard was, so if you are in the middle of making a big decision, I was like, yes, this is my sign. So he said, tap into the 2.0 version of yourself. And you know what that is. It's like your upgraded version. It's the you that has it all. Sexier, hotter, wealthier, everything's easy,
Yeah.
everything. The person that has it all. So, and just ask yourself, what would your 2.0 version do in this situation? And so I stopped the video and I just meditated on that for a minute. And then suddenly I felt lighter and happier. And I was like, oh my God, my upgraded version would say, yes, of course, like this is easy for her. She would love doing it. So I pushed play again just to see what else he had to say. And he's like, you'll find that you probably just decided to say yes to the more painful, more difficult decision. And I was like, yes, I did. So, yeah, that was the beginning of my week, which was yes, no, back and forth. Just a lot of wobble. And then the rest of my week, was finding my ground again. A lot of care, nurturing, extra herbal teas, even taking like a hot bath with baking soda, anything that felt nurturing and giving myself the care I needed to find my ground and be ready to commit and move forward in this
Love that.
upgraded 2.0 version.
Love that.
Yeah.
And so something that I wanted to share with you and with people, this week's episode of the Expanded podcast, which is the To Be Magnetic
Right.
podcast, they had this beautiful process episode. So the process episodes are where they take members, interview them and find their story, listen to their journey through the processing of To Be Magnetic work.
Mm-hmm.
And this week's episode was with a woman called Missy Energy Healing.
Okay.
And I got really hooked on everything she did after listening to her episodes now. And she talks about how our aura around us is like set in size, more or less. So what happens when we expand and want to grow, and like that, they talk about feeling out of your comfort zone. What's actually happening in that moment is that your aura is expanding beyond you.
Yeah.
And so that sensation of taking up space feels uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always understood, like, you need to get out of your comfort zone. It's like the discomfort is being out of the comfort zone, no? But I
Well, it's
couldn't
that
quite
too,
see
because
that.
I saw the aura version and it is the comfort zone. Like that came to mind after. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, growth happens when you're uncomfortable, when you're outside of your comfort zone.
I
And so I
understand
thought,
that, but the vision
yeah,
of my aura taking up space made much
the
more sense to me than me not being on my
extension.
sofa, which is my
Yes.
comfort zone.
Well, I love that. I love that. And I also had another image come to mind after. You've shared this before. I think it's the dahlia flower that when you're expanding, then there's this moment of retreat and contraction, and then there's expansion again. That also came to mind. I was like, yes, this week has been about cocooning, the
Yeah,
retreat.
it doesn't quite fully close like it did the first time, but it is
No, but there was
reducing and
definite
growing. Yeah, it's like a
contraction.
pulse
I was
sponge.
like, no. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And
Hmm.
part of this week for me has also been about this not wanting to be seen or being seen, or why myself wanting to be seen. But where did that come from? What does that even mean? Like, why, what is the quest to being seen? Because I don't even feel like I want to be, I've never wanted to be a celebrity or an actress or really be out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a search of mine, but there is something about being heard, or the message, putting a message out there.
Yeah.
Hence wanting to do a podcast in so many ways.
So I guess, does it come from service, a need to serve?
Well, I then decided to go and do all of the processes that Missy had done in
Okay.
her journey, because
Right.
she talked a lot about needing to hide as a child because of her upbringing. And so I was then sort of reflecting on my childhood and thinking, well, there are certain aspects. Then something triggered in me. I always used to want to dress like a tomboy. I wanted to dress like my brother, always.
Uh-huh.
But my
Okay.
mum wanted me to put dresses on. So she was wanting to put me in the girly clothes because she loved making, you know, and my grandmother used to make my clothes. And so they would make these pretty outfits.
And you did like them.
And I remember my mum saying, used to kick and scream at me,
Oh my gosh.
not wanting to wear the dresses. And so
Huh.
maybe there is something there that was like, well, I can't be who I really want to be. I can't come out and show the world what I like. So
So
there was,
is this what you got from Missy or from doing the inner child work?
well,
Or
it
is this
must
all
have
the same
been,
thing?
well, no, Missy led me to going and
Okay.
doing the unblocking inner child, which in fact was one of the things I always skipped and avoided.
Oh, yeah. Well, then it's what you needed.
Yeah, totally. So I've gone in there, and then this came up. And of course, one of my most wonderful experiences, yet one of the hardest ones, having Sam so young. So everyone that knows me knows that I had my son at 16. But
Mm-hmm.
that whole pregnancy was me hiding. I was hiding
Right.
myself from the world.
Right. Okay.
So there is probably a lot of work around not continuing to be in hiding.
Yeah. So something that I've come across is when you feel that, it's actually the you that was the teen who was hiding, who's asking to be seen now.
Yeah.
It's the one that's like, please just recognize me. I'm
Yeah.
here. So,
And so I really recommend people go and listen to that episode. I am going to link it in our notes on the podcast.
okay.
Because prior to that, I had been asking or digging around aspects of shame or guilt because they are the strongest repellents of abundance and
Okay.
prosperity and wealth. So any shame or guilt that we carry around any aspect of our lives is
Mm,
preventing and rejecting the good stuff from coming in.
okay.
So that came up too. And again, it came back to the same period of time. And so I was really able to have a really lovely conversation with my dad and just clear up some cobwebs and just like really sit in that space of who I was then, like
Yeah.
talk about it, which
So if you were to tell me to do something like you did, what would you tell me to do?
how did I pinpoint shame?
Not necessarily like you went through some processes. Obviously, you used to be magnetics work, but what could you take from that to say, well, Joya, just meditate on this and reflect on that?
I think it came back to again the pause. Like, what is the one thing that you struggle to say to yourself or accept about yourself
Mm-hmm.
in
Okay.
any situation, but in this any moment that is coming up right now, what is it triggering? And so let's see, I'm working on this whole journey this year of feeling worthy, feeling able to manage wealth, feeling adult, I suppose, like growing into my adult
Me
version of
too.
self, not remain that 16-year-old, kind of
Mhm.
like, what are all the things that I need to really own up to?
Mhm.
And then you start answering those questions yourself about moments where you felt you were not being true or authentic to yourself.
Right. Mhm.
And then not letting that go. You cling on to that and say, okay, what came up for me? Feelings of what discomfort is coming up? And for me, it became shame. It could be
Mhm.
guilt, or I don't
So
know.
like leaning into all of those feelings and just accepting them. How do you honor them?
I spoke. I spoke
Oh,
to
you had to
my
meet with
one
the people.
person that
Mhm.
really was around, who is still around at that time.
Mhm.
And I think it was also a case of, why am I, if this is my goal this year to achieve, I'm saying wealth, but really it's a sense of safety and sense of deservingness, or just feeling really authentic and that I can own my life and I can generate and I can create and I can build from me only, like sustaining my own myself as an adult.
Like an empowerment. You're
Yeah.
empowered. Okay.
So from that, what is the fear? What is it that I am why am I currently rejecting it? Because if I don't have it now, it's because I haven't overcome the blocks. Why would I reject that, let's say, wealth?
What's unsafe about
Yeah,
wealth? What's unsafe about having it all?
exactly. So then
Yeah.
it comes up, the answers come up. Maybe
Yeah. So in a
maybe people
parallel
will
way.
disown me, maybe people will judge me, maybe I'll turn into a nasty person. Like if I have limiting beliefs that people with wealth are mean, or I don't know, whatever it might be, like just keep digging.
That's funny. So in a parallel way, we're both stepping into like that unknown, bigger, like fe I don't know, it could provoke fear, but it's not as stable and steady as the ground we're on now. But we're going to the bigger, expansive place that is
Each time,
unstable. Huh?
each time we step, we need to
It's
ground. We
we
need
need
to
to ground. And we're
create the
both doing
foundation.
that through different processes.
Yeah.
But it's working. I mean, well, I feel better, you feel better.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've really cleared. Like as a child, we also used to play this crazy game at playtime. In one of the corners of the yard, there were all these pine trees that used to grow over. And so pine leaves would fall down and we would create brushes and we would make houses. So rooms within houses, no? And then people would take ownership of different roles. Someone would be the
How
dog,
fun.
someone would be, it was really fun. And so every playtime we would brush up each space. If you can imagine, it was like a plan of a room, feng shui almost.
Love it.
And that's the image that keeps coming to my mind, like my mind. I'm cleaning up areas of my life to
Mhm.
be able to keep stepping into the next version of myself and
Okay,
walking alongside my 16-year-old self, walking
right.
alongside my 8-year-old self.
Funny that you say cleaning up because that's how I felt when I mean, I take showers every day, but I hardly ever get into a hot
I
bath.
believe you.
And the fact that I wanted to get into the hot bath with baking soda to detox and really just cleanse my aura, cleanse my body,
Yeah.
that's what was one area.
How
And then
funny.
I've been doing these simmer pots in my house because they smell good and just make me feel cozy at home.
Mm,
But I do think the steam and the herbs are also very cleansing. So I was
yeah.
like cleansing my atmosphere in my house. And then I was like drinking all the herbal teas to cleanse inside. And I just kept thinking that I'm cleansing
Cleansing.
everything inside my body, around me, my aura, but I guess, well, as well, the meditations inside my thoughts as well.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing it more external. Like I need to talk to my dad. I'm clearing up my because I feel like I see my dad as my living angel. And
Mhm.
so I'm also asking him, I asked him when he did his meditation to really put it out there that his daughter is prosperous, his daughter is self-sufficient. Like he
Mm.
not carry that sense of needing to care for me still, like so it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
I needed, how we
Less
talked
of
about
that
these
Molly
are like,
coddling or whatever that's,
yeah, and it's like a
yeah.
sense of, carry that for me. And I think I sent out a post a couple of weeks ago about me not worrying about my children because that takes away from their ownership too of their own creation and trusting the mistakes that they make. So
You
I'm
know,
asking my dad to do the same for me. And
yes.
because I
I
feel
think,
like our bond is really spiritually strong, even though he's in
mhm,
Wales. And I just feel like, come on, you're on my side. Do this with me.
mhm. So is it David Ghiyam? Is that how we say his
Yeah,
name?
yeah,
You might have heard this as well, but when he says when you worry about somebody, that is like sending poison into their aura
yeah,
because it's not helping them at all. So the fact that you're asking people not to worry about you and you're choosing not to worry about people, that's like blessing them in a
oh,
sense.
totally. And
Yeah.
I feel like that is one of my unique as a mother, from very, very young, I never felt the need to worry for Sam, ever.
Mhm.
One time he went missing as a teenager, and that wasn't necessarily even my worry. It was his grandmother's worry that I
Mhm.
took in and made my
Oh,
own. And of course,
oh,
he'd been out, he'd stayed with some friends, and he was absolutely fine. And it was the one time I felt like I let myself down because I knew I didn't need to worry about him. It was just that I had taken it on.
yeah. No, I think worry is natural, but like overdoing it is just
I don't think worry is
not
even
beneficial.
natural. I think worry is a lack of real focus of where you want to put your thoughts around your
Yeah.
children. You
And
can
actually
choose
taking
those.
action if you can. If you can do something that you think you need to do, then do it. Or just
Yeah,
let them do it
I do
because you
see
trust.
how people believe that worry creates action, but a lot of the action, like a lot of the worry around our children, isn't necessarily dependent on our action anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And so we just need to trust that they will
or have a
do what they need to
conversation
do.
or express some wiseness. I don't know, but yeah, it's not necessarily true that it's natural. I think it's conditioned.
Hmm.
And I know people will think, what the hell, you don't worry. Like,
I know. And
in
like
the
how
sense of,
wrong,
I
like
still
that
love
you're a
my
bad
children.
mother for not worrying.
I love my children more than anything. No, but I don't know. I know I don't need to worry about them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still think about them all the time, but with lightness and joy
Mhm.
and optimism and
Mhm.
hope. And yeah, I have conversations where I feel stressed or when they're going through hard times. But as a
Yeah.
general rule of thumb, I don't
You
worry about
trust that they're going to make it, they're going to make the right
it. And
choices, and
everything
they're
that's
going to
coming up for
learn
them
their
is presented to them for them to grow through. The tests
yeah,
that we're telling ourselves we
they're
need
theirs.
to overcome, they're having their own versions. So
Mhm. Exactly.
so something else I did is alongside that was really track how much support I have around me, how I'm being
Oh,
supported.
okay.
And so that has really helped sort of soften future concerns. Or, I said last week that I'm practicing living in certainty. I'm practicing this idea of everything is happening in perfect timing.
Right.
The dreams or the things I aspire to create, even without the wherewithal or the know-how of how it will happen, I know it will unfold in time.
Yeah.
And so when I notice that, let's not say worry about my children, but worry about myself, because that is a more
Mhm.
likely thought for me to have, is worry about my own story.
Right.
um I've been practicing pulling myself back into the present and writing down everything and everyone that supports me. So in the moment, so, oh, Ellen supports me by taking the dog out for a walk. Because sometimes I feel like I carry everything on my shoulders. Like
Hmm.
I'm the one that needs to make everything happen. Everything
Yeah.
dependent on my actions, and it's just not true.
It's your world and they're just in it.
Yeah. So they now are becoming more of a player to help me create.
It is so funny that you say that because I was forced into that position. At the beginning of the week, I was planning to do all the things for these future manifestations, to have these things. And they took the back seat because I felt so ungrounded that I had to come to the present moment and just be grateful for the house around me. Like wrap myself in my blanket and be grateful for that blanket. And it was all about what I have here and now and appreciating it so much.
That is exactly what I had talked to you about in the previous
I
podcast.
know, I know. But funny enough, the things that I wrote down as I will have as the future manifestations at the end of the week, I had anyways. So they were slightly different. But yeah,
They always, it
yeah,
is always happening here and now too. It's just, are we able to be open enough to see them, to notice oh,
Mhm.
I have everything I need. It's like, that's
Yes.
what I was saying to you. You have everything you need. And so
Yes. But it's
same for
funny
me in that
how,
supporting, I have the support that I need.
yeah. So it's funny though, like it's not, for me, it's kind of like the cocoon moment or the contraction moment, and then the expansion moment. There are moments where you really just have to feel grateful for what you have here and now, but it's not always staying in that cocoon. Then it's time to open up again and expand again and aim for that future or reach farther than just feeling the ground under your feet.
I think that you can have your manifestation list or your dream or your vision board and
Mm-hmm.
let it go, let it be there in the
Mm-hmm.
background. And all along the way, you are acknowledging how blessed and how fortunate and how lucky you are to have
Right.
what it is.
100%. But my attention switches back and forth between just appreciating the here and now or envisioning something better.
I think it's probably needing to measure how often you're living in the future as opposed to how often you're living in the present. Like
Right.
not
This
allowing
week,
the future to override.
the present and enjoy the
Yeah,
present. Yeah. And I do, that's another thing that I was connecting with the flower as well. Almost like the in breath and the out breath, like the spanda in yoga, like when you're inhaling, you're expanding, you're exhaling, you're contracting. It's just, it's a rhythm
it's a rhythm.
throughout the day, every day.
So, I was gonna forget to say this piece.
Mm.
A very aware focus that I think we need to all be, well, who am I to care what anyone else does? But 2025 is a big change of a year.
Uh-huh.
Things are shifting, and we've already had a chaotic start to the year, some people in the world, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be beautiful if we are able to hold ourselves steady in the chaos, as
Mm-hmm.
we talked about last week as well, about time speeding up and slowing down, and how we need to slow ourselves down in order to see what's in front of us in our thoughts as time is speeding up. So not feeling that need to push or race to create or
Right.
to work, because that will inevitably be what's being presented to us as time is speeding up. So the more
Okay.
we practice slowing ourselves down in the minute, we're able to then see our patterns or our thoughts. And I noticed it this week. On Thursday morning, I woke up and I had 7 hours of class. So I had class from first, like I didn't have any moments in the day to program or have time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly I noticed my thoughts going, oh God, here we go. Kind of, slipping into,
Damn it.
I really can't be
Yeah.
bothered to do this. I really don't want to. How dare I not have an hour to do it to myself? Or all the
Yeah.
same kind of
Of
thought.
course. Yeah.
And I was like, Ella, I speak to myself out loud, like my parent. I was like, Ella, you got to stop this. You have to act as if you always have 7 days of class, 7 hours of class each day, sorry. So on the days that you don't, that's when you show gratitude. This is normal. You've got to not see it the other way
Okay.
around.
That's nice.
Okay, so I was like telling myself to behave, don't go to the negative.
Yeah.
And I put it out there of the first hour was mindfulness. And that's the hour that varies throughout each week. I don't always
Mhm.
have it on a Thursday at that hour. So that's why
Okay.
it was like a trigger of,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
God, today I have to do this class.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact, it's the most enjoyable class I have.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it
your
was just
gift.
a irritation.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped getting my socks on and I just sat and breathed into the joy of my job, of how lucky, the gift I give to the children to learn how to do these practices. And if I'm asking them to pause, why am I not pausing and just
Well
following
done.
through?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, I had the most beautiful 7 hours of class I have ever had
Really?
in my career.
And all from a moment of breathing and gratitude,
Yeah,
appreciation
it
and
was
gratitude. Like
unbelievable.
the
The
mind.
kids
Yeah.
were almost clapping at the end of the class. Like it was,
No way.
we all got so much out of it. But then it also
Amazing.
seeped into all of my other art classes. And
Yeah.
everybody was just high on life that day.
I love that.
I
That is
took
so
myself
beautiful.
out for
That's so good.
lunch. I then
Uh-huh.
even had to do a shopping and go to the, like my day didn't stop at the end of school. I had a
Yeah. It
lot of
got
other
better and
things.
better.
And it just was so enjoyable to notice
Yeah.
that that is what miracles are. That
Yeah.
is how
Yeah.
you create your day.
100%. Yeah.
So I was like, I have the best job ever, and I don't need to be going looking for anything. Everything
Yeah.
is here.
That's
It's
so
just
true.
being
Mhm.
prepared enough to witness it as it unfolds.
And to actually tell yourself, Ella, don't think that way. You are
But
so
that's why we
lucky.
need to
Yeah.
be able to have those spaces of acknowledging thoughts,
Hmm.
pausing.
And I think the regular practice of mindfulness and meditation and breath work is what allows
Oh,
you to get good
most
at catching
definitely.
yourself throughout the day
Yeah.
and not getting caught up.
And if anyone is looking for a 5-minute practice, I've just done a Substack on it, so I can share it with you.
Ooh, you should link that
Very,
below as well.
yeah,
And also, I was thinking, because like we do open up a lot here and we get vulnerable here, but we could get so deep and so vulnerable in person in a safe container. So, those of you who are in the Santiago area and want to go really deep with us, like reach out, leave a comment, or call
yeah.
us. Let us know. We'll do a breakfast club session or we'll organize a mini retreat and we will teach you these practices.
I would love that. So excited
Yeah.
to do those again.
Yeah.
So we'll see what comes up for us this week. Have you got
My plan is really to stay present, keep finding my ground. So back to the basics, breath work, meditation, appreciation, gratitude. Yes, visualization and feeling that future state. All of the things that were on my list from before, but just keeping them in the picture with a lot of grounding.
very good?
And you?
Same here. I feel like this week I'm going to be studying my trust. I have a birthday coming up the other side of, not mine, Ellen's birthday coming up the other side of this week. So there's going to be a lot of things happening and things I want to do. And I'm just going to really trust that everything is there for me and supported.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the inner child work. I'm really working through that to see how I can rid myself of this being seen or being hidden or whatever it looks like on the other
A
side.
few a few weeks ago, I did do some inner child work. And a lot of my meditations now, I am like holding this baby me. It's really cute, actually.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Maybe that comes up in your meditation. You hold your baby Ella, or
I'm more of a teen. I'm more still around that
okay,
teen years.
okay.
But
I've
yeah,
gone through different phases. There is like a 3-year-old version of me too, which
yeah.
is like mini queen,
I
but
have this 8-year-old and this 16-year-old. So
okay.
and what they're both rebels. And then I stopped being such a rebel and I think it's time
Ah,
to come back.
it's time to be, yeah, go girl, get wild.
And the curious thing is when I really sit back and write, my 16-year-old self was the most authentic in honoring her needs at that time that I have ever been. Yeah,
Okay.
but how do you say, paradoxically to that, I suppose I had fear around how that looked for other people. So as much as I was actually
Yes, so that's
following
what you're
through with it, there was a lot of concern about other people's
the insecurity. So that's what you're
opinions
working
and
with.
stuff around it. So
Yeah.
I've got
Cool.
it's always the two sides, always the
Yeah.
two sides. So yes, lots of self-love for each other.
Very good.
I
Well,
look
enjoy the
forward to
tea.
seeing you and speaking to you soon. Yeah.
Okay. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.